Hey guys, and welcome back to Coach's Corner. Now this week I'm going to show you what I normally eat before I go out on a long ride and what I take with me to make sure that I'm hydrating properly and making sure I'm eating plenty on the bike so I can train effectively and start my recovery, because that's really important. That's why we fuel in our training. So, as I like to say, let's get into it. Pretty much the first thing I do before I go out on a long ride, first thing in the morning when I wake up, after I brush my teeth of course, is to make sure I try and get my hydration on point right from the onset, because if you're dehydrated on a ride, you're gonna feel it a load later. So water and electrolytes. It's a good start to your day. The second thing I'm gonna do is make myself a coffee. So, I like my coffees. I make sure I only have 2 a day. And it is a good way to kickstart your day. No, it doesn't excessively burn excess body fat or anything like that. I just like coffee. And don't forget, coffee is not dehydrating, because they've shown in studies that the water that you drink with it kind of like mitigates any of the diuretic effect. How I fuel my long rides is pretty standard actually, and it's something that I kind of have been doing for a long time, and it works for me. So that normally starts off with 50 grams of plain oats, put some water in it. I don't put milk in it because I'm trying to keep my calories low, not because I'm thinking that milk is bad for you or anything like that. It's actually really quite nutritious. But what I'm trying to do here is keep my calories low and have a higher carbohydrate meal. In my oats, I'm going to put in some whey protein. Now, the reason why I'm going to do that is because it's low in calories and it's a really high quality protein. What I'm trying to do with my nutrition is to make sure that I maintain as much lean muscle mass, because as you get older, you start to lose muscle mass because your muscles are more resistant to protein. So you need a higher protein diet, and you need to make sure that your diet is from a quality protein source. Now, you can eat animal proteins, of course you can, but for me, if I want to try and keep calories low, have a higher carbohydrate meal, it's a great way to do both. Now, normally I put a banana in my porridge, but today I feel like raisins. So look, that's breakfast pretty much sorted. So how many calories is in breakfast for me? There's about 50 grams of calories, as I said, so that's about 180, let's say 190 calories for the oats. Add in a scoop of protein, so that's going to be about 110 calories. And then if I added a banana, that's going to be another 100 calories. This is quite big, so it's going to be larger. But each banana is roughly about that in calories. And then if we're going to add these little suckers, now just be mindful of these because we think they're nutritious. We've been told that they're good for us, and they're delicious, but they are very high in calories. The good thing about these though is that they are high in carbohydrates. So a little handful of these is about 130 calories, and importantly, a little handful of these have about 30 grams of carbohydrates. So by having these in that, I'm pumping up this from around about 30 grams of carbohydrate to 60 grams of carbohydrate. That's a good start to your day. Right, so before I kick things off about what I eat on the bike, let's talk a bit about hydration, because I think a lot of people get this wrong. They just don't drink enough on the bike, or they drink all the wrong things. So first and foremost, with the cyclists that I coach, I get them to drink at least one of these kind of bottles per hour. Now, it doesn't need to be a BMC bottle. I just ride a BMC bottle, and I kind of like the fact they've given me a couple of BMC bottles. Here's the thing, what I'm trying to get across is this. One of these bottles per hour with electrolytes in it, so you can make sure that the fluid that you're drinking is being pulled into the cell and not just flushing through the body. And this is the thing that I often see or often hear from other cyclists, is they say, I'm really well hydrated, but I'm peeing a lot. And the answer to that is no, you're not really well hydrated. You're not in fact, you're really poorly hydrated because the fluid that you're drinking isn't retaining, it's just going straight through. So if you find that you pee a lot, the issue is not because you're drinking enough water or drinking too much water. You don't have enough sodium in that water to maintain the fluid balance. Let's start talking about what I'm going to eat on the bike. Now, assuming that you've eaten a decent breakfast, now you are going to do that, right? Because we've just started talking about it. But let's assume you've eaten a decent breakfast and you're riding for an hour. Do you need anything in that first hour? Probably not, because you've eaten a decent breakfast. But the way that I do this is I ride for an hour and then I start thinking, do you know what? I need to make sure that I'm fueling my training, so I'm going to support my recovery. So I have about a chunk of a bar every 20 minutes. So I'm finishing one of these every hour. It's really straightforward, and it's just always served me very well. Thinking about calories, getting into it, thinking about the carbohydrates, making sure that I'm training effectively and aiming for really good recovery. Now, I know what some of you are going to ask me. You're going to ask me, do I have gels on the bike? And the answer to that question is, hell no. Okay, so let's talk about these things, because actually you see sometimes on long rides people sucking these down like sweeties. Now, do they have a place in just general everyday training? And I think the answer to that question is no, I don't think they do. If your nutrition is decent enough, you shouldn't be relying on gels. These are really for high octane racing or high octane training. Yes, do you know what? If I go out and do big rides, I'll take one with me because they are, forgive the colloquialism, option. And I think that's where I think these come in handy. That's where I think these things are really good. Righty, so that's it for Coach's Corner this week. I hope you've enjoyed the content. And look, do you know, if you like what I'm talking about, if you think what I'm doing is helpful, please look, share this with your friends, hit like, and look, subscribe. The more people that subscribe to this channel, the more I'll be able to help people out. So look, until next week, thanks for watching.